guys ready? All right. Well, first of all, welcome and congratulations. We are here with the coaches of the two-time state champion Needles Mustangs. So congratulations.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for having us here.
We were just talking about a really interesting fact I'd like to come back to, but we were out there doing the Athlete of the Week, and which should be going out in probably a couple hours. This will air probably sometime next week. And we had so much fun hearing the stories about the girls, the experience, that I wanted to have you on and share some of that with the world. I was very fortunate that we got to get some of that stuff while we were doing that Athlete of the Week. But tell me a little bit about what you were just saying. The girls aren't here.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't.
Yes.
Because they're playing basketball in UCLA.
Yeah. So we actually have we didn't realize it until later on in the season, but our starting five consisted of 5 tribal members from the Fort Mojave Indian tribe. So that was awesome. I'm a descendant of the Fort Mojave Indian tribe, so that was a really cool thing to see. Super proud of all of our athletes, but coming from the tribal community, that was just a really unique thing to see. So we're super proud of them. They're actually at a all Native American tournament that UCLA hosts right now. So we wanted them to be here for the interview, but they're like, "Oh, sorry, we got a game."
I'm shocked that they chose that over this, but I guess so.
And that goes to show too, like their chemistry and their ability to play is that they're just not playing it during basketball season. We just won a state championship, and their first thing to do was to join into a tournament in UCLA and get right back at it. So that just goes to show that they take this stuff serious. They're always willing to play. They always got, basketball on their mind.
I'm really glad they take that seriously, because they sure don't take my interviews seriously.
I think it's a little bit of them freezing up at the moment. So they're like, they'll be shocked, and we tell them like, "Oh man, the first thing is like, oh, do we have to talk? Do we have to talk?" And so having the team there to support and you letting that be the thing where they're able to brag on each other, and be able to brag about each other, it just helps the environment.
They are very fun, and most of the girls' teams are. So I don't know if that's like a social thing or what it is, but most of the time the girls' teams are way more fun than the boys' teams.
Yeah,
but they're hilarious.
It was definitely a little different.
They're definitely clowning on each other. They all dressed up.
Gena,
Gena, when she hit her 1,000 career points. Yeah.
So very, very fun group. Tell me a little bit about them. We were, hopefully everybody catches the Athlete of the Week, which will, be out by the time this does. You got some characters. You really kind of describe some of them, and their roles on the team are almost like kind of who they are, Tell me a little bit about the girls.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we knew coming in that there was a few returners, but as far as basketball, it was going to be a new group, because I think only 3 of them were really part of that state championship team. There was a few that were there, but maybe not have played that much. So there was only a few that had that playoff atmosphere experience. And coming into it, we leaned on our senior group a lot. And we told them from the beginning, like, we need you to set the example. And that was our 3 captains that you met. One was Giselle Burns, the other one was Emily Mills, and the third one was Isabella Harvey. And just from our very first team meeting, just seeing the chemistry between the players, and seeing how they had that mix there, but our goal of the vision was to kind of just teach them a little more basketball instead of coming in and putting too much systems in. We were going to just teach them the flow of the game, because we knew, just now, them going to play UCLA, they have skill, they have the talent. Now, how do we put that and mesh it all well together to where they're able to adjust on the fly? But their personalities from the very beginning were, like you said, it's energetic, because I came from the boys program, and I mean, the boys are fun too. It's just there was a little difference with the girls, and they're sometimes a little more silly with it, a little more, and I would say a lot more supportive too, and supportive of on the court and off the court, athletically and emotionally. They were there to support each other.
Coach, was it like that when you played, or is that like a new age thing?
No, I grew up we always brag about our rec league and everything. I grew up with my friends, and I played 15 years with my friends, and that before we won a state championship, so it's just the community, the Needles, the community that we have there, and really just the parent involvement, the volunteers, that all takes a lot of work to put into a community and give back to your community. And that's our biggest thing as coaches, is just giving back to the community that raised us. So to be able to do that and to be able to work with these good group of kids, whether it be the boys program or the girls program, it's really fun. So one thing that we really liked was that how he said that from last year was building that team chemistry to now relate it to basketball as far as, hey, know where your teammates at, know where their favorite spot on the court is. So when you go to drive, you know who to dish to. And so that was pretty fun to be able to teach them. We had to teach them a new offense. You know, we kind of stuck to their 1-3-1 defense that they already knew. We tweaked it a little bit and man, they just dominated. So
what helped too was some of the personalities like you were asking about in the captains is we knew that if we put responsibility on those captains, that the others will be able to follow. And that's exactly what happened.
It's leadership.
It was the leadership from Isabella, the leadership from Giselle, the leadership from, and as much as Gianna Collier may not have been a captain all year, her ability made her someone that people looked up to. So that was one of our things we talked a lot about is I know you're a junior and we may not be giving you the captain title, but your ability on the court will sway how these girls are going to perform and how they're going to respond. If you respond well when things aren't going right, they'll be there with you, you know, and if you respond right when the time's right, they'll be there with you too. So it's just about, you know, taking their personality, fixing it to what we needed as a team, but the leadership from the team. But then that also comes into even just as far as like we have our banquet coming up on the 5th and just some of the team awards we'll be giving out. We have characters that they may not have played. Some of the players might not have played that much, but they played a pivotal role in practice, keeping the energy up, knowing that I'm not complaining about playing time. When I go in, I'm earning those minutes I was given. And then in doing so, it gave them more minutes. So we kind of tried to help that culture out where we didn't want people on the bench complaining about, you know, when's my time? And we tried to eliminate that unselfishness behind it and tried to say, how can I support even from the bench? And when I do go in, how can I support even more in there where we're not skipping a beat and we're not seeing a down drop in play, we're seeing a rise up in energy, you know, so that if our starter was to go back in, that they're picking right back off where it was.
So
it seemed to work.
Yeah, from our starter to our 11th man, like they all played unselfishly. And that's like one of the cultures that we tried to set in the beginning of the year. We're a team. Your teammate's success is your success. And if you could, when your time comes and you are successful, your team's going to be happy for you, you know? So, and that was really cool to see throughout the year. And then for it to show in the state game, their unselfishness was amazing.
You had mentioned, was it yesterday we were out there? A couple of days ago? I apologize. My sense of time is really bad. I don't know what day it is when this video goes out either. So, but being prideful of your community, your accomplishment, your team. And you guys have a lot of support. Tell me a little bit about that. You had mentioned the tribe helped you guys with some things. The school and the town of Needles has always been very helpful. Tell me a little bit about the pride of.
Absolutely. So we have our list going right now because throughout the season, we get a lot of support. And we do want to start by obviously thanking you guys for willing to come out there and highlight some of the players and this whole athlete of the week that you guys put on. It's just awesome for the kids because when I text them, and our first one of the season was Gianna when she got the 1,000 points. And we're like, oh, well, what? And the girls, even with that, they all dressed up like her and they made a big thing about it and they honored her. And then we did a thing at halftime. So it just, in doing stuff like this, it also highlights other ways to honor these kids for doing just great things on and off the court. And throughout the season, we got a lot of support from the school, from our athletic director, our principal. And even at the beginning of the year, we were going to need some new jerseys, right? So we went in there, we did our count, we're getting our inventory, found out we were going to need some jerseys for the school. And I asked the high school and they were like, okay, we'll be able to help with some of that. And I said, okay, well, we still need a little more. Let's go get some donations going. Well, the Fort Mojave Indian tribe caught wind of that we were looking to get some support. And they said, what's the total bill? Not even the portion. They said, well, how much was it? And I said, it was about $2,700. And they were like, okay. Wow. For the kids, let's go. And they were willing to support right there. Yeah. And it just wasn't even there. It was some individuals too. Like the parents, the kids, siblings all around, and even
Community
like community members. Like
want
we had
to donate $100 to our program so the girls could go get Starbucks.
So we had a
that's team bonding.
Is support right
That's
there.
team bonding.
So it was the ex-city manager, Rick Daniels. He heard that we were going to be traveling, and he said, "Okay, well, let's get maybe some coffee or some Starbucks and treats for the girls." So he wrote us $100 check to go take the girls out for there. And
that's awesome.
It's just a lot of support, and from top to bottom,
and parents too.
And the parents too.
We
Absolutely,
have team dinners that the girls really enjoy.
That the parents would host,
and parents host it at their house. I mean, we have parents making food, like other parents make food, and they host it. And the girls it's a good time for them to get together and build that team chemistry and that bonding.
Do you think a lot of coaches don't put enough value in the team chemistry and bond aspect of playing?
If they don't, I think they should. If they don't, I think they should, because doing a simple activity, and it may sound like cheesy to call it team bonding, but when the kids are there and they're in the mix and they're bonding and they're laughing and they're making memories, it just builds trust. It builds it like, hey, we're here for each other. And so any opportunity we had to have some team engagement or some team bonding opportunities, we took advantage of. Like we had an early on tournament where we had some money donated, and we're like, all right, how are we going to use this on the girls? So we had a tournament out in Mesquite, Nevada, and we finished our game early. We had about 4 hours to kill. We're like, you know what, let's go. You guys want to go to the movies? So we took them to go watch Moana 2. And when we went to the movie theater, it just so happened that we were the only group in there. And so we had our girls they're all sprawled out on the seats. They're singing the song. They're taking selfies. They took their blankets and pillows. But all that did, and then they kind of suckered me into also getting them, like, everyone a little snack pack too. But at the end of that, though, just the play and the trust and the engagement and the relationships between them and along with us, it just built up.
I thought you were going to say they suckered you into singing the song.
That I do already. That I do already.
Yeah.
I do that already.
The
soundtrack. Yeah, I'm a
full choreograph.
I'm definitely a Disney kid at heart. So like when I got a son and a niece at home, so we watch a lot of Disney movies. But that got us there too. So they're like, "Hey, Coach Goose, put on that Mulan," or "Coach Goose, put on Moana," and I knew what to do. I knew what it was.
Yeah, Isabella Harvey, she's our Disney princess because she knows all the Disney soundtrack songs and she'll sing them. She's like, put on that Disney track.
Yeah, we had the movie theater. We had several dinners. We'll even do sometimes where we text the team, said, "Hey, what are you guys doing for lunch?" Because some seniors get to leave at lunch. We said, "Hey," the teachers even. So we had one of our ladies on the team. Her mom is a teacher at the school, and she offers up her classroom all the time for us during lunchtime. So we'll go in there and watch game film, which we're turning it from a practice to a team engagement to more information based. So when they leave, obviously they're closer there, they're fed, but they have the knowledge of what to look for, of what we did right or wrong.
My love language.
That's what I'm saying. You feed them, they're going to come. So
you say there's food, there's a 50% increase that'll show up.
They'll definitely show up. And so we had engagement activities with at family for hosted dinners. And then one during the holidays, we actually, we're sitting around, and I said it's a joke because we kept singing in the vans and we're all singing along, and we're like, you know what? What if we went caroling after the team dinner? And it was just a what if thing, a joke. Well, the girls actually bought into it pretty quick. And so they said, and they came ready. So I went back to work and I got my stuff together. I got a bunch of Christmas caroling stuff together. And sure enough, they were up for it. I thought they were going to kind of be like mumbling. No, they were full on. And there was a video that a couple people caught some home videos of us. And we went around a few neighborhoods and we caroled, and people started tipping us. And then we're like, wait, we might be able to get some funds here, guys, and support these uniforms we're going to get. So we turned it into like a mini fundraiser, and we only did it for about a couple hours, but we ended up making like $248.
Oh, wow. They must sing way better than I thought they did.
No, they were great. And then everyone bought into it though. So it wasn't like someone was hiding in the back thinking, oh, this is weird. This is silly. Like once a few of the captains did it, and once a few of the characters on the team and the seniors did it, that leadership led, and we just all went out, and that was just one of the many activities we did, along with when we're on our away trips. I was like, the money that we fundraise is for the program, right? Yeah. And it's meant to get you guys what we need athletically, equipment, but it's also for engagement activities. And what we do here, it's just building culture. And in doing so, that just all led up to it. And what's cool about the community you brought up is that when people see us doing great things, they want to honor them. Something like what we're doing here is, the girls achieved something great that, and we told them the other day, like, before we play this game, a lot of athletes work all 4 years and don't get close to a playoff game or a state title. They just don't get that opportunity. We can't take this for granted. We need to get in here and perform and capitalize on our moment and our moments now. And when people see the kids doing great things, they want to highlight and they want to honor them. And sometimes that doesn't happen enough. So we appreciate something like this happening. And it can even be like, we go to Cane's Chicken after the state title.
Oh, yeah.
We go to Cane's Chicken and their employees there, they're like, wait, you guys let's get pictures. We'll put you up on the wall. Like when people see kids do great
like, you get extra cane sauce.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's
our
50 cents.
go-to. Yeah.
But it was
So
awesome.
you know you
to
made
see.
it when you get extra cane sauce.
That's when you know it's legit because they charge for that. But it was just awesome to see that when good things happen and community members and people want to highlight them, we hope that maybe they see that in doing things like this, I can have moments like this and achieve more and continue to keep striving down that right path, you know?
And also to go to, like, in practice, they're working hard.
Yes.
Like, their coach is making them sweat. And we joke. So we're the South and we play the North usually when we go to playoffs. And we're like, hey, they got them North lungs, the elevation. They could run for days.
Yeah, we have no elevation help here.
No.
None.
So he's like, they're running their drills, doing wall touches.
You think the North is going to be tired? You think they're going to be huffing and puffing? Let's do it again.
Yeah, motivating
That's
them.
great motivation.
So they're putting in the work at practice, and it's always good as coaches that we get to honor them and we get to, I don't want to say treat them, but reward them for their hard work and their effort, and without complaining. Like, it's awesome.
What do you guys call running from the baseline to the free throw line, back to the baseline, to half court, back to the baseline?
Ladders.
What'd you call them when you played?
Suicide.
They had to change the title a little bit.
I was gonna say when you said that, I said, man, I hated running suicides when I played. And I was like, I don't think they say that anymore.
They changed the terminology a little bit on us, but they know that.
What jerk came up with that first name?
Right. I don't even sound fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense.
They hear the word baseline though, and it can just happen for anything. And sometimes though, I told them like, this is a good thing to run because sometimes, it can be, it's a punishment or this. I was like, if you're not moving on the court, something's happening.
Right.
So we always got to be running up and down, and we got to get used to it.
Our offense is a lot of motion. It's a lot of movement. We don't want anybody staying stagnant, So usually you get your break on offense because, defense, you're putting in your work. But no, Coach had them ready from day one.
But they accepted it though. They accepted it. And we told them like in our first team meeting when I introduced myself, because I came from the boys program after being with them. I think I was with them for 5 or 6 years as an assistant and the JV head coach. And when I came over this year, we had our first team meeting. But the good thing is we knew a lot of the girls from the community already because she has connections and she is
a lot of them are my relatives. Some are relatives.
Some of them are my relatives. And I used to work in.
Yeah.
I used to work for the tribe as the education liaison for the education department. So I knew some of them from around there and I knew some of the families, but they didn't know me as coach. So it goes from community member to teacher to now putting on that coach hat where a lot of it's still all connected, but it's just, I'm going to hold a standard and hold you accountable in different ways. And, but they bought in right away and, it was just more so like we said, and it shows even with some of our gameplay throughout the year and our record.
Something they did when we were out there that was very minor and silly that I actually thought was so cool. And I read into things a little too much. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're way off. But they covered up that the boys lost on the paper. Yes. They're holding up the paper and they kind of joked about hey, we need to cover that. But they were serious.
Yeah, they were serious.
And there's a lot of, there's a lot of that pride reflected in that thing and that they did not want to put that out there, and they were serious about it. I mean, every one of them, when you look, they were trying to hold that paper like this. You're like, you don't have the thumbs for that,
Yeah.
We, and that was just, there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of love and there's a lot of, brothers. And so our senior this year, senior captain, Emily Mills, is sister to the MVP, Luke Mills, right? And if you guys seen Luke Mills play, he's a lights out athlete, a shooter, he hustles. And then even Giselle Burns, her brother was on the team. Isabella Harvey, our 3 captains have 3 brothers on that team that lost. So it obviously, when we won, obviously these emotions were high, but then they were focused back in on that game and they're sitting there and they're all into it. And it definitely hurt them to see the boys,
And
not
the boys
not
work
finished, but
hard too.
the
like,
boys, and I told them too, like obviously you want to win that game, but they didn't give up at all during that game. They fought.
Did
and
the
they
older
showed
Russell
heart.
kid play?
He did not. So Xavier was he
knew he hurt
sustained
his
an
knee.
injury in
Yeah.
football, but he was the reigning MVP from last year in the all-state of 2A Nevada. So he's definitely a key piece that they were
and he was
hurting
there
from.
supporting the boys.
Right on the bench, polo on, cheering on his team. Just the kind
People
of
are
kid
like,
he
is that a
is.
coach? I'm like, no, that's a player.
It was tough to see, and but like you said, even us, like we love that boys team just like we love this girls team, because I was with them when they were freshmen. Most of those freshmen and sophomores, I was with the boys program, seeing them enter high school, and then when I moved over to the girls last year, so
He coaches football too,
and I coached football for them, so I know them pretty well, and then I was just giving them hugs after and telling them, that I love them and that just be ready to keep fighting and know that what this feels like right now, use that as fuel as we come back for next year. And not even next year, as the day right now, use it as fuel until we get back all through the off season and you guys go back out there. But
and any boy that I've talked to, any from the boys team, they're already like, no, I want to get back.
Yeah.
I want to
And
get back. I want to get my chance. And
they got the right
win.
mindset. But we're extremely proud of the season that the boys teams had. And
to go
with
undefeated,
with them holding that though, they knew.
Great accomplishment. And then, I mean, you lose the last game, but that's still something to be proud of. State runner-ups, all the hard work.
It's a reflection of how much success you guys have had out there. That like a runner-up's like,
Yeah.
That's what we told them.
Most teams like, wow, they went all the way.
That's what I told them. Exactly. It's like, I know that the culture was that we got to win, but you're state runner-up, and you didn't go in there and lay down for nobody. And you won 31 straight games. You went there and battled, and I know that the girls, like they want to highlight their win, but they're not trying to do it in a way that hurts the boys. But that's why they were trying to show that respect. Is like we're proud of what we did, but we still show that love, and we're still there with them, hurting a little bit that they couldn't achieve that final game.
Yeah. So something I thought was nice for you guys this year was so my son is going to go play some football in college next year, and we went and visited all these colleges, and they all like talk about their travel. Yeah, we have a great travel. We only travel 2 hours here, 2 hours there, 2 hours here, 2 hours there. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Like that's not a big deal. Like what's, and they don't realize in the West, everything's pretty far. And in years past, you guys had to travel 10, 11 hours. You have to play in Vegas this year.
Oh, that was sweet. That was definitely sweet. Yeah, like the furthest we travel mid-season would be, we would travel up to Lincoln County to play the Lynx, the team we actually played in state. Or we would travel 2 more hours beyond that and go to White Pine, which is in Ely, Nevada. So I think they're both about, on a bus, I think on Google Maps you're looking at 6.5 hours, but on a bus it's about 7 and a half.
I've been on a bus to travel all the way to Reno.
Yeah,
like
that's where we went last year to that.
But by the time we get there and the team chemistry, you're making memories on the bus. Like that's fun. I mean, you do a lot of sleeping and listening to music, but you make memories on the bus, and that's just part of, we live so far down in south of Nevada to where we got to make those trips, but the kids handle business.
I think the point you were saying is how sweet it was that we didn't have to go there this year.
Yeah.
Yes. That point was sweet because last year, just for if anyone didn't know, we went all the way up to Ely, Nevada, played for the regional championship, had to come back to Needles, and then turn around the next weekend. Did we take a school bus? I want to say we did. I think we took a school bus.
I wasn't on that
trip.
we
did.
High quality bench seat.
Yeah, so we took the
windows
Twinkie.
all falling.
Maybe not air conditioning.
No, we took it all the way up to Reno, Nevada, and then that was intense. And as much as it was like the memory, that's hard to recover from.
Yeah.
Some of those memories involve being uncomfortable for 10 hours.
Yes, exactly. But going to Vegas this year was sweet.
We were able to spend the night. We had enough funds to be able to spend the night. The girls were well rested.
How we got those funds real quick for Mojave Indian Tribe.
Yeah.
Yep.
So once again, so they said,
huge thank you.
Huge thank you. What the plan was this, is we said, all right, we're going to go to play Friday. If we play Friday and win, we earn the opportunity to stay the night. Now, we could have easily came back and drove back up, but we did that in the regionals. When we went up to play in Green Valley and we came back home and we drove up early the next day to play, we get out the bus and we got to coordinate with boys and cheerleaders and all these other things. So sometimes we can't leave when we want. We have to leave when the whole group's ready. So when we got there, though, we walk into the gym. Lincoln County's already stretching on the court. And we're like, what the heck? Ladies, go stretch. We got to get this rolling. And so it took us, we're not making any excuses because we won. But I'm just saying, it just took a little bit to get ready in that game mode. And we told the ladies as a team, we said, you know what? We kind of were in a dilemma. We're like, do we buy our travel gear or do we stay the night? And they were like, well, let's just try to stay the night and let's just try to see if we can have the travel gear later. Well, the Fort Mojave Indian tribe caught wind that we were making decisions based on like what the girls can have, when we could stay the night. And they were like, how much is it? And like, again, no hesitation.
They're like, oh yeah, and here's money for food.
Yeah, and then on top of that, so
Olive Garden,
yeah,
they got to buy all their appetizers and their calamari.
Yeah, but they stayed a lot. But staying the night though, waking up, we took them to another team. We said, all right, everybody wake up, get breakfast, go back to your room. Whether you take a nap or not, we're going to leave at 11 during checkout because we don't play till 2. But just to get that culture built back up, we took everyone to Starbucks. We let them pick whatever they wanted, get their refreshments. Everyone's having a good time. The team's there. And then they all knew, though, like, this is our time to kind of enjoy this. But right when we leave this building, it's go time. It's business time. And so when we got to that stadium and went in there and did what we had to do, being able to stay the night and just travel to Vegas was 20 times better than having to go all the way there.
I bet.
Yeah. So I told them, like, last time we had to go there. Now they got to come down to us.
That's darn near home game by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we play in Vegas pretty much once or twice a week throughout the season because that's where most of our opponents are. So we know the trip, but it does help being able to stay the night, get a good night's rest, knowing we don't have to drive a bus for 2 hours that day. Yeah. We just have a 20-minute trip and go play for a state title.
Now, the arena was cool.
The arena was cool.
I thought that was a fun story.
Yeah.
I like that everyone knew the big elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was the girls, so we get taken down by this huge elevator, and it's like you can fit a car in that elevator. And we're going down, the girls get dressed, we do our pregame speech, and we're coming up, and Coach Goose always has the big speaker.
Big JBL boombox.
And
the lights.
He plays the jams. The girls are always like, play music. So he's playing the jams.
Just Moana and out, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's post-game music.
A little bit of a different vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was an elevator operator in there, and he's jamming out with us, and he told us good luck and stuff. So that was pretty cool that we're singing in the elevator before the game, and as soon as that elevator opens, you see the fans look at us like, who is that? And it's like, it's Needles.
It was cool.
You about to find out.
Well, you walk into the court and they direct us. They said, Needles, coach, you take your team down there in the corner of the court. So we go there, and it was an elevator that took you 3 stories down into the basement. So the locker rooms were in the basement of the Cox Pavilion Center, which is right next to Thomas and Mack. So that's where the ladies were able to get dressed, do their thing, get locked in. We had our pregame talk. And that's when we rode up, like she said, bumping the jam. So when those doors open, though, it was like, it just sunk in, like, this is it right here. The lights are on, getting their little televised stream going, and the announcers are there. And it's like, all right, it's time to kind of kick it into gear now. So that was a fun feeling. But the girls felt it, too, because when we're riding up, it's kind of shaking. The music's playing there, and you can just hear the stadium up above. They were locking in, though, and it was cool to see. So I like to see their faces before game to see, like, where we're at as a team. And as I looked around, I just saw, like, focus, everywhere focus, having a good time, but they knew what the task was. And it just felt good as a coach to know, like, we're ready to go get this. We're ready to go.
So you had talked about your preparation, watching film. You talk about mindset, getting in a good vibe.
Yep.
When did you know that you guys were going to win a state championship?
I don't, from the beginning of the season, not that we knew, from the beginning of the season, we knew we had a great team. We just needed we knew we had great players. We knew we had great players. We just wanted to make sure that those great players can be a great team. And in order to do that, obviously you would like your all-stars to be there, but you need that supporting cast. You need the entire team, because I told them there, I said, if we practice hard and if we give each other difficult looks at practice, we may be the hardest team we see if we practice hard enough. Yeah. Like, don't give it easy to anyone. We're not here to make feelings feel good. Like, I'm not here to make I'll just use Gea. I'm not here to make Gea feel like she's tearing up her practice. We want to challenge her. So when she sees he's in a game, and she definitely would.
I owe some girls some candy, because in practice, I told him he'll take the starting 5 and I'll take the rest of the bench players. And when we go 5-on-5, he doesn't know what defense I'm going to throw at the starting 5. And so, and I tell them, get 3 touches on the ball. So like if you have Gia has the ball, she's looking for a pass, boom, 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 you know, and hold her accountable, put pressure on her, make her work and mentally and physically, you know. So I told them, I said, you get 3 touches or a steal, you get candy.
That
so
was
that
just
reminds me.
that's
Gotta bribe them.
That was part of our preparation. Is we always say in basketball, it's all about the adjustments. Because we never know what the opponent's going to do. We never know what a girl's going to do. We never know what a coach is going to do. We don't know what sometimes these parents are going to do. So we got to be ready for anything. So what we emphasize a lot is having multiple sets that we like against any defense out there. So, and when we do an offensive set that we like, we sit there and we run through every possible outcome that we can think of. And the girls may be like, again? I'm like, yes, again, because that's not the look I wanted. So I'm telling you to go here and here. So when we see it in a game, it's just second nature.
Yeah.
And so we go through and we run through stuff over and over. And then we don't just sit there out of the half court set. I'll throw the ball down. I'll say, go run and get it, catch it, and bring it back down in transition and run it from there. So we're putting them in different scenarios, but just preparation.
Getting them prepared.
And we had them buy in though. And so your question was like, when did I knew we were going to win state? We had some tough challenges this year as far as teams, and no team took it easy on us, regardless of who our players were. So I knew that we had a good team halfway through our season. Once we got through that first cycle, I said, dang, if we continue to grow, but that's the thing too, is I told them, and even whether it was true or not, I'm just telling them this stuff like, we need to beat ourselves. If we were to play the Lady Stangs, how would we beat the Lady Stangs? What would we do offensively and defensively to beat us? And that's what we got to work to.
That's what we prepared.
We prepare to get better than ourselves than we were the day before.
And so, like, even though we played Lincoln County in the state game and we had beat them 3 times prior to that, right? By 3 or 4, by a good margin, you know. But we knew Lincoln County wasn't going to come in and just do the same thing. So we knew, okay, the game plan is, let's go with how we beat them these past 3 things, 4 times, and if it works, we're gonna keep doing it, you know. But if they throw something different, we got to be prepared for that. So that's what we did. We threw a new offensive set at them, and the girls executed. The girls trusted us, and even though they were having that pressure where 4 people were collapsing on Gia or Bella. Zell was open, Emily Mills was open, Peyton was open, you know, and so it was pretty awesome to see that they trusted their teammates. The leaders trusted their teammates to do their part. And then once the other 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 girls were scoring, the defense had to put pressure on everybody else. And it took pressure off of our leaders, scorers.
Before the game, like I never wanted to once tell them that we're going to win. I said, if we do what we need to do, and I always tell them this, I tell them, trust each other, play discipline, and we will have a chance to win a state title. The only moment I knew for sure we were going to win was, and I knew we had a good chance when we beat North Tahoe. That was our first challenge. Let's get past North Tahoe, and which we did. And then I knew we were going to face Lincoln. But like she mentioned, I'm not going to sit there and tell the girls we beat them 4 times already. Or we beat them 3 times already. Let's just go do it again. No. We knew that Lincoln was going to adjust. Lincoln was going to come with the game plan, and we needed to be ready for it. The moment I knew we won was, sometimes on that court, you get tunnel vision, but you're also coaching the entire game. So I'm sitting there, and I didn't care. The bench was in, whoever's in, you got to hold them to that standard we practice about, right? And we preach about. So I heard someone in the crowd, or I heard someone on the bench go, 2 more points, coach, we're up by 20. And I was like, oh, shoot. Because I was so locked in the game about doing what we needed to do at the moment, and the points will come. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and then someone says, if she makes these free throws, we're up by 20. And I'm like, oh my God. And then it kind of started hitting me. I'm like, nope, get out of my head. I want to stay focused into the final. And then I knew that once I knew we were going to win, I had my state ring in my sock. So I knew that, like, I had a feeling that if we win,
I've been a real uncomfortable sock.
It was a zipper was in it. So she bought me some zipper socks. So I put my ring in my there, and I was like, I'm not walking around with this heavy foot for no reason. But the girls got out there, made us extremely proud. And it wasn't until and then even then, when she put the subs in to give just people some reps and experience that atmosphere, I was still coaching. And then I hear our players counting down 4, 3, and I'm still I'm holding them accountable. Like, what are you talking about here? Why are you counting down? And then I'm like, boom, we won the championship. and the girls stormed the court and we started going. But it wasn't until about that moment that I
Do
knew.
you have your roster up on the iPad?
We do.
Can I see it?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You can.
I want to try. I want
Nice.
to test you guys.
Total.
Uh-oh. Let's
No,
go.
I'm just kidding.
Let's go.
I'm gonna mention a player. I want you to tell me what word describes them.
Okay.
I was gonna ask you the opposite, and I thought let's do all of them real quick. I was
Okay. Yeah.
because every team's got
Let's highlight them.
unsung heroes, right?
Yeah.
So I got to C Munoz,
Okay.
Oh.
So Chris,
freshman.
Fresh.
freshman, tough, just tough, and she's actually my niece. She lives with me. She's been living with me for about 8 years,
So I
and
have a funny story though.
well, she's a tough player, and she kind of noticed how tough she was when
Yeah.
she got in there and started knocking around varsity girls. And I'm
Yeah.
like, at first I'm kind of like, nah, it's my niece. No, she ain't ready. She ain't ready. And then she's like, just give her a chance. She's solid. We see her in practice, and like
Yeah.
she'll get in there
She's a
sometimes and run
hustler,
plays with the
she's
girls.
quick.
And my niece kind of bumped her one time, and she was like, "What the heck?"
Like, yeah.
And she's like,
So she was playing in a JV tournament, and she barely bumped the girl, shoulder bumped her, and it was a foul. But he was like, "Why is that girl flopping?" And I was like, "No, she's strong." Like,
It's
so,
Jaleesa or Crystal
but
Hittner.
she goes in there. She's not afraid. She's fearless, and
Mhm.
that's different from a freshman.
Especially for a freshman, yeah.
Freshman coming on to a returning state championship team. She went in there, no fear. So we just need to up her offensive game a little bit, but her defensive game, it's there. So we're excited to see what she has. Excited that she's my niece. I feel like she has a little bit tougher than most because she's held to a higher standard, but
So it
but
is a lot of the time.
she handles it, and we're super proud of her. So
Yeah.
How about M Ortiz?
Michaela,
Michaela. She's the one that held the newspaper up. She brings energy, and she brings just hard work. And she's one of those ones that, like, if we need something done right, we can count on her to go in there. And whether it's a starter not doing something right, we can say, Michaela, this is what we need from you. And she'll go in there and execute.
She's one
And-
of our smallest guards on our team, but there was games where she was getting in there for rebounds. Like, she was fearless.
Like
Like,
say rebounding is a mentality, right?
Jump balls with
Yeah.
their bigs, and she was awesome to
Yeah, she
coach.
Definitely,
So
definitely
gonna
energy.
miss her.
Energy with her.
We only got to coach her 1 year, but it was awesome to be able to coach her. She's a good kid.
S Powell.
Scotty P.
Scotty Powell. Yeah. So she was someone too. What would be a word for her?
I would say, well, she's a shooter.
She's a
She's a shooter.
She's a shooter. She's a shooter. And
Shooter's got to shoot.
Shooter's got to shoot, and she's the one.
I'm gonna
And
make
so
her
we
a
told the
shirt that
story
says that.
in the state game. You can watch Lincoln still fighting back. They're trying to scrap, and then they're not giving up at all, which Lincoln won't. Lincoln's a tough league opponent. We see quite a bit, but we had Scotty go in, and we were just waiting for that one thing to happen to signify, like, that's it. That's it.
You give her that
And
wide open
we swung the
three.
ball around, and Scotty, she developed a lot over the course of the season to where she understood spacing a lot more. So instead of just some ladies and early on may pass and stay in the same exact spot and wait for the ball back. And we just told them, like, we got to get past that. We want to grow. We got to learn spacing more. And she did. So she, boom, swung the ball. She noticed the zone was up a little too high. She dropped back to where no one was in the corner. We swung it right back to her. Boom, she hit that three. And the entire stadium, the entire bench, everyone on the court knew, like, that's the
It's
moment
really
where it
hard
just
to teach
signified.
feel.
Yeah.
Yes, and she got a
Yeah.
feel for it,
Yeah.
and she dropped down. So she's definitely our shooter on the team, and she'll be back next year.
So I'm assuming this is a glitch. I got 2 P Jacksons.
Yeah.
That's a glitch on me or probably Max. Let's put it on Max Preps. That's Max
Definitely Max
Preps.
Preps,
That's
yeah,
Max Preps.
absolutely.
But Payne Jackson,
Yeah, she came in, like we said, she started off JV, but
Word to describe her. Locked down. I'm gonna say locked down. She's
yeah,
locked
locked
down, and maybe intense too.
Oh, she's intense.
Her face, you can't tell if she's mad, but that's her game face. Like,
Yeah.
she came in, she started off with the JV squad for maybe like the first week or two, first couple games. And then we saw something there. We had a conversation with her, and we said, I would like to see more from you as a player, as your energy,
This is what we need.
and this is what we need from, and some people may see that and be like, well, then fine, then I don't want it. Not paying. She said, okay, let's go out there and do it. So she went into a JV tournament and shined. And then we brought her back and we said, you know what? That earned you a spot to come play in our varsity tournament. We took her with us to a tournament there. First game, I lean over to coach. I'm like, she is going to be a starter on our defense. And then sure enough, fast forward 2 weeks, she's our starting chaser in our 1-3-1, and she's our starting shooting guard. There's tough player.
Very cool. H. Castillo.
Haley Castillo. She's someone that will be with the team next year. She was with us early on. She ended up kind of being a yo-yo with JV and varsity. She's someone that went down on the JV for a little bit, battled, kind of earned some spots, came back up to the varsity.
Funny kid.
Good kid.
She's
smart.
funny. Smart. She's smart.
She's one of the ones that definitely helped us earn this right here.
Academics.
Academic state champs.
And she has good chemistry with the team.
Yes.
So we hope to see her next year.
She's intelligent for sure.
Yeah.
A. Welt.
Amaya Well. Okay, so she was a JV player throughout. Now that she's new to basketball, I would say. She's a junior with Welt. She's
being Needles and be new to basketball. I thought it was like a in the crib thing.
I think she was kind of she moved around a while and then she finally settled out, missed the school. But what would Welt be? Welt would be she's focused.
Yeah, and
that'll be a word to describe her. Would be focused.
I don't know how to describe her, but I love that kid.
I would say she's focused, but she's new to basketball in a sense where she knows that she should be somewhere, but she's still learning what to do when she gets there. So like when we were running through some plays, she saw an opening on the floor where she knew like, oh, the defense is not there. Let me run there real quick and put myself in a good position. And she would get the ball. It was more so teaching her now what to do, what's the next step. But when you talk to her, she's focused. She's eye connected. She's nodding. She's listening. Super good listener. And she's definitely, my vision for her next year is to be a big part of this team.
Very cool. Harvey.
Oh man,
she's a Bella beast.
I would say she's just a force.
Yeah,
she's a force. That'd be the word. So when we got in our, like I mentioned in the interview we did, which will come out maybe Friday,
athlete of the
maybe
week.
Later today or something like that. Our athlete of the week.
It might be out now.
She's a force, man.
Between 1 and 2.
Just sitting there at the meeting where it was time to. So I can't announce the awards the girls got. If you want to hear about it, we're gonna have our banquet Wednesday the 5th at the Elks possibly.
Yeah.
And that's when we will do our honors and our awards for the girls throughout the league and the All-State. But she's just a force. Hearing people talk about her in those meetings, the other coaches describe her like they're like, it was dang near impossible to game plan against her offensively, defensively. She is just a phenomenal athlete.
I want to say she averaged a double-double throughout the year.
She just about
close.
Not,
but
I lost the column for what stat is what, but there's a lot of numbers here.
Yeah,
large numbers.
Yeah, and not even just rebounding and scoring like her position allows her to do, but assists.
Yeah,
she was feeding her teammates. It was quick. She has eyes behind the back of her head. There's weak side. That's hard to teach. That weak side's open, and she was like, boom, boom.
She's definitely got basketball IQ. She's one of those people that before she touches the ball, she scans the floor really quick to know where her teammates are. So if she's got the open shot, she is not afraid to hit those shots. Or she's boom, draw someone in, bang, boom, boom. I'm like, how did she see that? She's definitely one of those players. We're just gonna miss next year. Phenomenal.
Hard to replace those ones.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
How about Mills?
Emily Mills. Assassin. That'd be my word.
Silent assassin.
Yeah. She is a silent assassin, which is crazy because she's quiet on the court.
There's never noisy assassins. You ever know?
But she's the one.
They're always silent assassins.
She's the one that talks the most in the interview. She's the one that got so much to say about Gia, and she's real vocal in front of the camera. She wants to talk, but when she's on that court, she is just straight focused, and it was so cool to see because she's a smaller statured girl.
Usually, we want some height down low in that 1-3-1.
That's one of the flaks we got when we told people we're going to run the 1-3-1. They're like, "Oh, do you have a tall, lanky person to run baseline?" I said, "I got Emily Mills. All right, that's all I need." Because she was in there, and they would sometimes put 2 post players. So it'd be, here's Emily, here's another girl player, here's another girl player, and Emily just looked down and was just, let's go. I got
2.
She is so smart and quick with her. She would play angles, and that was one of the things I yelled a lot during games. Is like we practice so much about angles. You don't have to beat your girl 1-on-1. We're working the angles. I'm going to play an angle to deny you the ball, to stop the ball, to trap the ball. We're 100% about angles.
Into thinking something's open.
Silent assassin for sure.
Yeah. So
another senior captain going to miss.
How about Willis?
She was a sophomore. What would it be?
Sophomore. I would say potential. Yeah.
Like she has
coachable.
Coachable. That's it. Coachable. She is coachable. Young. We brought her up. She was also a yo-yo early on to where when we did it a few times, we're like, you know what? No, you're a varsity player. And we see it there, and we're pulling that fundamentals out of her.
We're still young.
Yeah.
And we practice I said, hey, you're doing this wrong. We need to improve on this. Let's get this done. And she was like, okay.
Yeah.
And even after practice, she was like, I'm doing this wrong. How can I get better?
And what we preach to the girls too is like, when they notice something, we like them to communicate it to us. So when we give them like a look, when they run past us, we transition and we're like this. She's like, I should have passed that with one hand. And like, thank you. Like, let us know.
I know.
Yeah,
She's like, I know. And then I was like, hey, she's like, bounce pass. I'm like, bounce pass.
But she took our coaching critiques and she applied them.
Yeah, she
and
didn't shy
she
away.
improved. And she ended
Being
up
coachable is so important.
being a threat and getting us rebounds and even scoring a couple times here and there.
Huge role in our playoff run. Because when we had to sub out Isabella, Giselle, and whether Audie was in or out, but she was someone that she was someone that we trusted that we could put in there, and we weren't going to see that drop we talked about. We were going to see that energy, that effort, and she showed a lot of growth throughout the season.
So I'm going to butcher this poor kid's name. Salse? S-A-L-S-E?
Another one, she was another, so she's on the JV and varsity roster. So she's someone who played a little bit of JV, a little bit of varsity, but another girl right there, she is just super focused and attention to detail. So she didn't finish the year off on the varsity roster. She finished it on a JV, but that was one of the things we told her is we were hoping
she wanted to improve.
She wanted to improve. And we gave her some options and we talked to her. We said, you can go down
in a great position for next year.
That's what we told her. And we said, if you're going to get so much more minutes down there and we want to see the growth, and we did. And it was clear as day when we went to go watch because I sat bench on the JV games because I told them, like, this is my program. I want to be a face. I don't want to just be like, oh, there's the varsity coach. I'm like, no, I want to be there because you
stand off in the shadows.
Yeah. Right. Just all like looking over here. I'm like, I got to be a face for the program here. And I just wanted to build that culture up with the girls, but she was definitely someone who just little things like knowing when to dribble, when to pass, when to shoot, how to attack, working the angles. She was definitely someone who, when you talk to her, she's looking right in your eyes. She's head nodding. And when you turn around, she's trying to do what you told her without the ball. She's super attention to detail.
Andrews.
Audie,
yeah. She was our word for Audie.
I don't know. She's quiet, but I don't know. She just wanted to get better, and I don't know the word, but
she's definitely someone. She was our sixth man for more than half the season. As she would just come in and for our bigs. And early on in the season, Giselle Burns sustained an injury, so we called upon Audie a lot in some of our early, big, very important games. Like when we played Lincoln, because we like that trip we have to travel up. We had to go travel 6 hours, play Lincoln, go 2 more hours, stay the night, wake up, play White Pine, come back and do all this. And we needed and she was a senior, we needed someone to step up and not shy away from the moment. And Audie was that person.
I don't even know if Audie realizes her stats for the year because we don't do it in-game stats. We post them online and stuff like that. But she led, I think she was number 3 in rebounds for our team.
And she was, I think, 6th in points.
And 6th in points.
So and it was quiet points. She would go in there when we needed a sub or whatever, and she was another one that the level would stay there, and if not rise. So she would get tough rebounds, she would get putbacks, and she was definitely a player she definitely is a player that we're going to miss. And she would bring the energy to in practice. And
she's the one that coordinated the
dress up like Gia. Put the hair and the glasses on.
So she had a good chemistry and good bond with the girls, and that's that kind of leadership. Even from not just our captains, but that type of leadership from a senior. So we're gonna miss her.
Collier,
Gianna Collier.
1K points.
Tough.
You can see 2 on those stats right there. If it shows, I think it might be the one that says 552 next to her.
There's a 552.
She scored 552 points just this year.
Season.
So there were games where she dropped
a junior.
So she was dropping when we played, and that's the thing.
What's the ceiling on those points then?
5, man. She I'll tell one story real quick. I got plenty, but she dropped, I want to say 36 against the 4A school of Nevada. So we go and play in these big tournaments. So we got I was glad we did. We got stomped on in a few tournaments that we went to, but it was much needed because it showed us, like, I've referenced back to that every time there was a downtime in practice. There was I don't know if we should do this again. I said, do you remember that feeling when we were getting beat down and how we felt and we weren't trusting each other? Look how far we've come now. So I reference a lot of those losses. So I'm glad that when we play in those big, tough tournaments in the beginning of the year, they just set the tone and the tempo for us to improve throughout the season and not slow down.
And not
She
ever
played
get back to
She played a
you know?
4A school and dropped 36. She played another 4A school and she dropped 21 in the first quarter and a half. She received I think she got a tech for too much celebrating or something like that. So I had to take her out because we had a league game the next 2 games. So I think she scored in the first quarter and 2 minutes. She had 7 made 3-pointers in the first quarter and a minute. I think the Nevada record for most in a game for girls, I want to say it was like 13 or 12. And I think she would have easily beat that. So it's like, no. Well, she understood why though, because if you get 2 techs in a game, you get suspended for 2 games.
Yeah.
So I'm like, like I would have loved to have seen you get that, but she has that capability of just shining. She also has the capability of she's unselfish, and as much as like people try to say what she is she's an elite scorer, but she's an elite teammate.
Yeah.
And she holds a lot of pressure on herself, I think sometimes because she knows what she can do, so she tries to, but do too much. But this culture that we set this year is we knew that it's a team effort, and it was never just one player from the beginning of the season. It was a whole team. So I told her before we talked to the girls the night before state, and I said, man, if I'm Lincoln, I'm coming at Gia like nonstop. And I'm front. Whenever she goes to the wing, trap. Whenever she goes to the wing, trap. Right when she touches the ball, in her face. We're going to have to rely on our 2 bigs. And I told that to Gia. And I said, this may not be your game score-wise, but it will be your game to control the tempo and to get assists and keep everybody calm. You're the glue. That's what I used to tell her when I call her over here. I said, you're the glue right now. Keep us together. Keep us together. Be calm. And so I do a lot of like talking to the girls about staying calm, playing fast, but playing smart and responsible. And
a lot
Go
of
work
shoots.
on them celebrations. That's all.
that's all it was, man. But man, when sometimes if you're putting up 36, you want to celebrate a little bit.
I told her, I was like, you could think it, you just can't always
Well,
say
it's
it.
tough now. You watch the NBA and they're doing all kinds of wild stuff.
But
You're like, I don't know what to tell you.
She ended up only finishing that state game with 8 points, but her assists, her ball control, and she ended up distributing the ball enough to where Isabella Harvey and Giselle Burns finished the game with 16 points apiece. And that was due to the fact of her realizing, like, I'm unselfish. It may not be my time to score, but it's time for the team to succeed. And she had no problem doing that. So she's definitely a teammate is what I would call her too. She's
the last one, Burns.
Man, she sustained and what is she? She's just, I already used this word with Bella, but man, they're just both forces on the court, offensively and defensively. Like when we bring them up in the meetings, so we had a meeting and I can't tell what they got, but just know that our girls got represented well.
I bet they did.
They did. And I brought up Giselle Burns as for what category we were hoping to get her. They had no objections to what she did. Like we brought up, that's when we played North Tahoe.
There you go, coach.
We played North Tahoe and they had the Offensive Player of the Year on their team. And Giselle Burns was guided with the task to guard her and to shut her down. Now, not all by herself. We had Emily Mills and Isabella Harvey helping with those traps. But even in the meeting, the coach was like, can I just say something about Giselle Burns? She held my athlete to 4 points, and that is the lowest amount she's ever scored in her entire career. And we had no answer for it. And the problem is we didn't know how to answer Giselle Burns.
Yeah.
And that just goes to compliment that it's not just me hyping her up. She's getting it from players and her teammates. When they brought her up, they're like, oh, the best. And she was trying to get her 3. She can score down low and beyond the perimeter. Like she scored 2 threes to end that first half off in that state championship game. And she put another one to cement it in the end. She finished with 3 of them in that game. And they were well beyond high school threes. She was about, I don't know why she did that, just to give me some little, hold my breath a little bit and I'd be scared. But no, when they went in and I was like, man, what a weapon to have. That if you want to put a post player on her, she takes them out to the 3-point line and she can make from out there. What opportunities that creates for us.
Yeah. You talk about spacing and, being able to get a big that shoots really creates chaos. So
that's what it did. It created opportunities.
And with her too, she had a nasty ankle injury to start the season in one of our tournaments. And she ended up coming back, letting it heal and stuff like that. But it still was that tenderness, and we had to limit her playing time. That's where Audie got a lot of minutes in. But so playing in the state playoff game was like, all right, this is it. Like you're gonna ball out, and she did exactly that. So we're super proud of her. And to leave, like I said, to end your high school career, leaving it all out on the court for Isabella and Burns.
Giselle Burns, it was awesome that, well, I think what helped her a lot this year is that as unfortunate as it was that she got that injury early on, she got to sit with us on the bench as almost a coaching point of view.
Yeah.
So she got to see what it looks like for a team to do well, for us to see things that we need to improve on. So we used to call her assistant coach, and I would give her a task on the bench. I'd be like, hey, drop the play. Because she was able to then see me and my mindset and how I wanted things to be done and understand it. So when she went into the game, she was vocal about it. And she was able to communicate what we need to do, where we need to be. And when I said things, she was even right there like, yep, this is what you're talking about. And I'll reference back to her. I'm like, how did that look when they weren't doing it right? And she goes, oh, it didn't look too good. So she was quick with it. She got a different mindset.
It's nice to be like, oh, the coach said, I didn't do that.
And then she would bring it in. And then once we got it onto the court and we had our whole team back, that was a good feeling because we had some injuries early on, but when we all came back, like it was like, man, this is all we need right here, ladies. This is all we need. And if we trust each other, play discipline, like I keep saying it, I say it every game. If we trust each other and play discipline, this is all we need.
And communication was a big part in that leadership role for our captains. And we try to say, like, if you see something on the court, you have to communicate.
Yeah.
Communicate to your teammates. It's not just us. We'll try to make our adjustments as coaches, but you guys are on the court.
Yeah.
And so for Giselle to be able to have that, I don't know, assistant coach.
You get a unique perspective.
Yeah,
you have you know, going back in as a player, you have the ability to apply it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so she did that, and she was a leader for our team. And we're definitely gonna miss her. It was fun watching them play.
It was nice to have 3 senior captains that were starters offensively and defensively that just set the tone. So a lot of our underclassmen, we told them during the season, like, don't just, and some of the things I told the girls towards the end was like, play like your seniors. Mm-hmm. So you play for your seniors. Because I always after games, I was like, oh, there's next year, the next year. For the seniors, they don't have that luxury. So if we all play like this is going to be our last year, we play for each other and know that this is it. So we are extremely proud of the girls, though. We tell them now, like, we love the team, but we love the growth of the team. And we love that they accepted the fact that we need to continue to always get better. And we saw improvement individually and as a team. But when you were going down those names, like, all that kept coming through my mind is how much each of those girls grew throughout the season, skill-wise, trust-wise, basketball IQ. And that's what helped lead us to a state championship, was they were willing to grow and learn. And that's how we ended up with this trophy here. And they were so smart enough to go. And right here, academic state champs. I think
it's a lot easier to coach a smart team.
Yeah, that's why I said I think she put up a quote. She said ballers and brains, just because they had I think they averaged a 3.7. So they averaged we were academic state champs.
With 11 girls on our team.
Yeah, that's a lot of GPAs to keep up. And they were able to do it. But we are extremely proud of this team and what they achieved. And we told them just be proud of the moment, embrace it, and know that just be grateful for it. Because like we mentioned, a lot of teams and we have the luxury of having such a great team that was willing to put in the work and go fight for something that is never given. It has to be taken. And they were willing to go take that and put in the work that needed to be done, because some schools, some coaches, some girls, they go through all this, 4 years, and they don't see that. And I just knew that if we wanted to get out of that category and have a chance at something, it was going to take work, and they bought into it, and they were able to go out there and succeed. And
the cool thing about it is it's not only that they won, it's how they won. Mm-hmm. And as coaches, we got to implement something into the team and a system into the team. So we know the little things that they had to do to make them big things. And so that's why we keep saying we're super proud of them. We're super proud of them. I hope they don't think like, oh, coach is just saying she's super proud of it. No,
I tell them, go look at the stats, because ladies, we have
in
the 2A, in the state of Nevada, the 2A class 2A, we had the highest scoring offense and we had the best team defense. We held the teams to the lowest amount scored. I think for a certain span there, we were keeping teams under 20 points. Right. And then for a certain group of teams, we were keeping teams under 15 points. Like, it was no joke. Like, we told the girls, like, we may take off offense a little bit, get breathers and move the ball around, but defense is something you never let up.
We don't let up.
You never let up on defense, because that's when the bad habits develop. So, but I told the girls, I said, defense is a mindset. You have to be willing to work and want to go get it. And it was just awesome to see the girls. I tell them all the time, like, be proud of what we did. And go look at the stats. You guys played your butts off, and you guys were ready to face any challenge. And we faced some tough offensive players throughout the year, whether people locally or in these big tournaments and in these leagues. They were willing to fight, and it just showed. And like we said, their defense, whenever we threw at them, they would accept it and know that, all right, coaches this, players we believe in the coaches. And I just want to thank again, just you guys for all this. I would like to thank the girls again, and I would just like to also thank my assistant coach here. I would be sometimes in the moment, but she would be there with individual player development, subbing in and out, making corrections. So we both were pretty eye to eye when we see like some looks funny there. What's our adjustment? I think we need to do this. I agree. I think we need to too. And then I will pull out that player. We'll make that adjustment. We were in a groove, especially when it came time for that playoff run. And the girls went out there and trusted us, trusted each other, and was able to go get that job done.
So we're still the main sponsors of the Aces Awards. And I am expecting to see you guys prominently featured there. So congratulations. Obviously, so much to be proud of.
Yes.
I'm really glad, even though the girls ditched us to go play basketball.
I said they don't stop.
And softball.
And that's
softball.
And softball.
Yeah. They're athletes.
I'm very appreciative you guys took some time to come out here, talk with us, tell the story of this championship team. Every story is unique. Every team is so different.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to tell the stories that kind of put it together.
Yeah. And we wouldn't want to leave without mentioning our managers real quick. We have two senior managers. One that you met when we did the interview, McKenna. She did the books for all four teams. She did JV boys, JV girls, varsity boys,
right?
Varsity girls, and she did not skip a beat. But she wasn't just there to write down stuff.
She was on it.
If
she was
another
like,
team tried to sneak in and tried to say this, she would stop the game and be like ref, and she would call stuff out. Another time they had a player sub in, they didn't check into the book, and she goes ref, he's not checked in. Boom, we got text, and we're shooting free throws, and that happened multiple times.
You know that coach is sitting there glaring at.
I'm
like, who is this girl? Who is she?
Mind your business, all right?
It's nice too, because she was like, hey, so-and-so has 2 fouls.
And so that's another thing too. We would come to her at halftime and say, hey, how are we looking? How's the other team looking with foul trouble? And they're like, she'll be like, number 5 has 4. And we're like, we going at number 5. But then we also had Katie Smith, who helped us with stats and video recording, because sometimes it's when we go to play in these tournaments, sometimes they don't have that huddle system, or they don't do any filming or anything. So she was our iPad guru. She would film it. She would send it to Huddle Assist. It would give us stat breakdowns. We would use that information to then adjust and game plan when we saw an opponent again.
We need to invest in a tripod, because homegirl was...
She was a little
like
by the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but she did good. Yeah. And film is such a vital part of what we needed as coaches. And she was able to provide that for us. And we were able to get stats in return and let the girls get honored.
Wanted to give them a shout out real quick before we left. They're two managers, and they're both leaving too. So
there are so many things that contribute to a team, and most of them never get the recognition they deserve, including coaches. So congratulations to you both. It takes a lot, and it's a very, very proud accomplishment. So congratulations. We look forward to seeing you guys in the future and announcing these awards that all these girls earn.
Oh man, yeah. So we had just a meeting yesterday where we went over like athlete, MVP, first team, all state.
They're just like needles. We'll
have to see. But I'm glad that the girls got honored and represented well for what they achieved, and it was awesome to see. So we had our league voting where they did extremely well, and then they continued to perform into the state of Nevada Class 2A. So they will be represented in both. And we'll be
definitely
having that.
Well earned.
And also thanks to whoever let you guys come out here and do this. So
yes.
I know that it's challenging and time is valuable. I really appreciate that. And
thank you.
It goes back to that, support all over.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, teachers, for taking my class and subbing.
Thank you, admin.
Substitute teachers.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.